What about second breakfast?
Time for second breakfast.
What's up, everybody? Monster from Breakdowns for Breakfast here with another second breakfast.
And Danger, I'm here too. I'm going to chime in on this one because I want second breakfast.
So I played my first show with Thoughtless, the ultimate corn experience.
And for his first show, we decided to take the triplets, the little Dangers, the Dangerettes. We decided to take them to go see his corn tribute band.
I think it's the full name. The corn tribute band that I just recently joined. And I was going to talk about it a little bit because it was kind of a, cool thing. I've never played in a tribute band before, so it was a new experience.
I had never seen a tribute band before, at least that I can remember. So it was a new experience for me as well, and for the girls as well, the triplets.
I'm not going to do a second breakfast after every single show I play.
Thank God. I don't think we could do that. No.
At least I'm not planning on it. It depends on how much content we need. It depends on how behind we are.
I don't know what he's talking about. We don't get behind ever. No, we're perfect at this. Yeah.
But no, it was a really cool experience. So as I said a week or two ago on a different second breakfast, I mentioned that I had joined two new bands. One, a kind of a variety cover band.
When he originally told me that he was joining two bands, one of which is a corn tribute band, was okay, whatever, that's appropriate. And the other one he told me was a variety cover band. Now, I know that they are just a variety. They cover a variety of different songs, different acts and whatnot. But in my head, I had more of like an Ed Sullivan, Monsters now going to be performing with jugglers and magicians, and the stuff like that would have been a lot of fun.
From Woods of Terror. So we play a little bit of everything, rock, pop, rap, country, but we do it in, full monster costumes and makeup.
It was rather convenient for him. He goes by the name Monster there as well, and he just kind of used the same moniker that he has here.
And then the other band was called Thoughtless, and it is a corn tribute band.
Sorry, I spoiled that one a little bit. Sort of, maybe. No, not really.
Obviously just play corn songs. However, there is a theatrical piece to that as well. Not quite as elaborate as the Crypt Kicker vibe, but still masks, and some guys are wearing wigs to get sort of the dreadlock thing. I didn't do the wig route. I'll explain what I did when we get there.
Now, I showed up a little bit earlier. We saw the two bands that played beforehand. And so, Monster was walking around a bit, and he had a part of the regalia on. He had part of the costume on. But I didn't know how much of the costume. I just thought, he had what he'd done to, as part of the show. And he looked silly. And I was expecting that. Oh, and by the way, if anybody who has watched this show or listened to the show has kept up with Monster's slap tally, he didn't slap me once at the show, which I'm thankful for. Not that I'm scared of Monster's slap, but I just don't want to be slapped. But anyway, yeah. I was entertained by the way that he looked, and then he said, "I have to go get ready." And boy, did he get ready.
But so when I joined these two bands, Crypt Kicker had a gig the week before Thoughtless.
And that was a busy week for us. It really was. I came back from vacation from the beach, and which I think if you had listened to, I forget what episode it was. That was our first episode back from recording, or back from the beach after we recorded, and I said it was parenting with sand, and that's pretty much what beach vacations are, and that's fine. But yeah, I came back from a week off and didn't do anything with the podcast on purpose, and I was exhausted. And then, come to find out, Monster has joined two bands, and he had a lot of songs to listen to or to learn, as you'll learn here.
it was like, okay, I have to essentially learn 30 to 35 songs for Kicker, and then another like 15, 16, 17 songs for Thoughtless. It was a lot to cram in my brain. Thankfully, these were all songs I've heard before, just not necessarily songs that I had played a lot. Some of them, yes, I had learned how to play some of these songs over the years, but a lot of it was just, learning new stuff. So anyway, got through that Crypt Kicker gig, and then for Thoughtless, we had 2 full band practices, and
again, busy week.
Again, I did a lot of homework. I did a lot of practicing on my own, and so the other guitar player in
now, mind you, that is homework for the bands on top of listening to this album, or the album that we were doing at the time. I don't remember which one it was, but I tried to tell him, I did tell him, I tried to, kind of sympathize with him a little bit if that he was having to learn all these songs, and then he was having to just learn the ins and outs of the album like we do. And I think he ended up doing a pretty good job with our album. Actually, I assume he did good with Crypt Kicker, and he did good for the Corn Show. I don't have any negative things to say about him for the Corn Show. Surprise, surprise.
Thoughtless. Just, I can't say enough nice things about him because he really, really helped me. He knew that I was kind of crunching, trying to get everything in my brain for 2 different bands and 2 different styles of playing. One's on 6-string guitars, one's on 7-string guitars. It was just a lot to try to like get in my head all at once. And he was super supportive and super helpful. He basically,
it's a lot of strings.
Learned both parts on almost all the Korn songs, and was basically like, what part do you feel comfortable playing? I will play the other part. And we really were able to, mesh well in practice. And I don't mind taking feedback, if you're telling me, hey, that sounds good, but try it like this, or, whatever. I'm pretty open to that sort of thing.
I know I give Monster a lot of crap on breakdowns for, his musical ability. And the thing about it is he's actually a pretty decent guitar player. He can, play what's needed when it's needed, and he knows when to kind of add a little bit of flair to it, and all that's good and well. I actually have been, I don't want to say impressed, but wowed by his guitar playing at times. I don't know. He's not terrible.
So me and him get along very well, I think. And so anyway, we have our 2 practices. The first one was definitely a little rough. The second one went pretty smooth. We brought the bulk of our costumes and sort of did a sort of dress rehearsal.
Based off of what I saw, I don't know what the bulk of the costume would be, but I assume, I don't really know what I would assume there. I don't know. The bulk. Did they all dress up as the bulk? I don't know. Anyway.
To get familiar with that. And so then that was a Thursday night, and then the gig was on Saturday of the, as of time of recording this, just a couple days ago. Today is Wednesday. It was this past Saturday.
I don't know what day it is anymore.
So the show was at Hangar 1819, the venue that me and Danger talk about all the time on the show. And we had a couple of openers. The first band just did original music, but they had a female vocalist. They were really good. I want to say they were called Transmute or Trans something like that.
I think it was Transmute. That sounds right. And they were okay. I mean, we've heard rock bands with female fronts, female vocals plenty of times in the past, and so it didn't really stick out as much as they probably were thinking it did. And the local band opener never gets the best sound mixing and all, and yeah, they were fine.
Really good band. They had a female vocalist who sang and screamed. They had a keyboard player. It was heavy but melodic. They were a lot of fun. And then Sick Man, an Alice in Chains tribute.
Yeah, so Sick Man, I actually really enjoyed Sick Man to an extent. Now, I know that the uh, lead singer of Sick Man, was really, really trying to go for the Lane Staley, and he was really trying to hit on that, but it's almost like he just had too much of other vocal talent about himself, so where he didn't really quite nail that. But what I thought was really interesting was, and it was really interesting for me overall, just to watch the kids there, the girls, and they knew a lot more of Alice in Chains than I was expecting. Actually, they knew a lot more of Alice in Chains and Korn than I was expecting. See, they are my stepchildren, and their real dad plays Alice in Chains and Korn and all. And I may not like the guy 100%, but I do like that he exposes them to good music like that. I don't know. He has played some other stuff around him that I don't really like, the country stuff and whatever. But I don't know. I enjoyed Stickman, but I enjoyed watching the girls enjoy Stickman more. I don't know. It was just a lot of fun for me there.
Who were also really, really good. Alice in Chains is not an easy band to emulate, and they were real tight and real solid. Actually featured some members from some bands that I used to do shows with a lifetime ago, back in my original, new metal bands and stuff.
One of the things I thought was funny about them is they'd been around for a while. They said on stage that they had been around for, I don't know, 20 years or something like that. And I felt bad with the size of the crowd at the time that they played, because there were more that came in by the time that Monsters Band went on, by the time Thoughtless did. But for being around for that long, I would think that they would have more of a crowd. But also at the same time, I know they're not local to Hangar 1819 to Greensboro, North Carolina. So that's fine. I get that. But I think the funniest part about it was the drummer, when he walked on the stage, jeans and t-shirt tucked in. He was there just to play the music. He was not there to look cool. That's cool by me.
So it was cool to see those guys again. I felt really bad because in order to get ready for our set, I was backstage pretty much their entire set, and I felt really bad about it. But I'll explain why in a minute. But it was cool because as we had to get there super early. I think we got there around 5. Doors didn't open until 7, but we got a sound check and stuff. But a lot of my family came, which was very cool. My brother and his wife came.
Now, I give his brother and his wife shit because his wife is the one that requested Kings of Leon, which is our lowest rated album on Breakdowns. And every time I see her, I give her shit about it, even though super sweet, super nice lady. And his brother, Brian, also really nice. Don't have a problem with him. Don't really have an issue with either one of them. But, his brother, Brian, was the one who suggested we do Metallica's Ride the Lightning. And I don't know. I think that was more of an eye-opener for me because, I always said that I liked everything up to about halfway through Reload. And that showed me that that's not always been necessarily true, because I didn't love that album, as anybody that listens to that episode knows.
My dad was there, and
it was cool to see his dad again. I hadn't seen his dad in a long time.
Danger and Mrs. Danger, and they brought the triplets. It was awesome. Apparently, it was the triplets' first live music experience.
I've already said that. Why'd you say that again? Jeez.
I want to say they are, they told me, I think 10?
Yes, 10. Their birthday's in October.
Years old. Danger, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they're 10.
I won't correct you because you were correct there. They are 10.
And they had a great time. And he even sent me a really cute video the day after of them, him asking them, is he the best guitar player you've ever seen? And they're all like, yes, it was great. It was so great. And it was just like, that's so sweet. They have no frame of reference. I'm terrible. But
they do not have a frame of reference. And again, he is not terrible, but they have no frame of reference. And it was really sweet and cute of them. And I, wanted to send Monster something nice for a change.
It was that was definitely a highlight of the whole weekend was getting that video the next day.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so we get there, we sound check and we're in our street clothes. We look completely normal. However, I mentioned earlier some of the guys were rocking like dreadlock wigs to, that's Korn. So I didn't want to wear a wig, and I, didn't know what exactly to do. So,
which I would doubt that the wig would stay on. Monster moves around a lot on stage, and I don't think that the wig would have stayed.
I was looking at some old pictures, and back in the day, early in Korn's, history, before the dreadlocks, Head used to have these little like braid things all over his head that was like the beginnings of his dreads. So I had my wife do that for me.
And that was how I saw him. And I want to say he looked silly, but I know he was just looking the part for the show.
So I had like, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 of these little like sprigs sticking out of my head. Definitely a lot of people thought that was funny, and that's cool. Was it a little silly? Yes, but it also fit. If you look back at those pictures of Head, he had something very similar. So I thought it was a cool look. The guys in the band thought it was cool. It fit, what we were doing. But so, we're hanging out and mingling pretty much. We were supposed to go on around 10. So around 9, a little after, we went back into the backstage area and started getting ready. Because it is a tribute band, it's not only that you have to, well, the way we look at it, not every band does this necessarily, but in addition to playing the songs, we wanted to at least hearken the visual of Korn.
He hearkened hard.
And the way we decided to do that was to implement the Crypt Kicker horror aspect of it with Korn's, dark imagery and stuff. It kind of fits. So like, for example, we're all wearing Adidas, some form of Adidas tracksuit, or we're all wearing Adidas shoes. We're all decked out in Adidas stuff.
It's like he was sponsored.
But like our lead vocalist, he actually basically painted his body black and wore this mask that covers like the top part of his face, and it's kind of zombie-esque, and it has dreads attached to it. And he had a cool name for it. It was like, oh man, Infected Davis or Jonathan Infected. I can't remember, but he actually like had a name. It was pretty cool.
He did not tell that name to us, and it was a cool looking mask, but it was a little bit weird because there was like this mustache kind of thing, and it always looked like it was getting into his mouth, but I don't know. Yeah, full body paint. He came out like a sparkly red jacket thing and then took it off after the first song. But yeah, thank Vessel from Sleep Token for black body paint.
Our drummer wore a bunny mask, very, very similar to the rabbit iconography on See You on the Other Side.
Which, for anybody that doesn't know, the drummer for his band is actually Floaty from the Ready Set Radio podcast that we were on, and then we did the newest Sleep Token, the Even Arcadia album review with them. It was fun.
Me and the other guitar player basically were just decked out in Adidas. I wore sort of this sort of ninja mask thing, and our vocalist did some like paint on my face, like black and red. It was kind of cool looking. I was more concerned with like, I got to get these guitar parts down, like make me look cool, help me fit with the vibe of the band. But ultimately I don't really have time to come up with a backstory and a really cool like image right now. I did a better job for Crypt Kicker. I think we uploaded a picture of what I look like for that.
His backstory is he's a dad that has a full-time job.
Which I'm still not 100% sold on that either. I've got other ideas. But it was sort of like, I've got a couple of weeks to pull all this together. I got to just roll with what I got. But anyway, so we're backstage getting ready, and we're trying to we're painting our lead singer, and we're getting our masks on and getting our Adidas stuff on. And the first song that we play is Chutes and Ladders. Now, if you're a Korn fan, you know Chutes and Ladders starts with about a minute's worth of like bagpipes. None of us know how to play bagpipes yet, so we actually have like a sample machine.
I love how he said, yeah, like somebody's going to learn how to play bagpipes. Bagpipes are not easy to play.
And so we hit play on the sample, and it starts playing, and we kind of use that as our intro. We're all backstage. It's playing the intro to Chutes and Ladders, and we come walking out, and it was pretty cool. It was a decent turnout. It wasn't packed, but enough people to make you feel like you're doing something right.
He was doing something, and some people would think it was right. I don't know. I say that just because I'm not a new metal fan. I don't know. Again, for the kids.
It was fun. But I thought that was a really cool way to start the show to get people really hype. I honestly don't remember the entire set list in order off the top of my head. But one of the things that I really dig about the set that we have, and obviously it was our first gig, we're still learning more songs, is it's a good mix. It's all the hits. Like if you go to Spotify right now and look up Korn, those first 10, 12 songs, they're most played, we play all of those.
Even as a person doesn't listen to a lot of new metal, the most new metal I do listen to is actually what Monster makes me listen to on the show, which is fine. It's fine. But even I recognized pretty much all of the songs. I think there was like one or two that I didn't. But yeah, they played a good amount of songs too. So yeah.
But it's a nice mix of, yes, we do Blind and Clown and Chutes and Ladders off the first record, but then we also do Twisted Transistor and Coming Undone and Y'all Want a Single, which are all like newer era Korn. Nothing off like the most newest couple records. Not to say that we won't, it's just we haven't put that in yet. But real good crowd response. Everybody knew pretty much every word, which is good if you're coming to a Korn tribute band.
The girls actually knew a lot more of the words than I was expecting, which was fun to watch.
I'm assuming you are pretty familiar with most of Korn's material. When we got done, we had a really good time taking pictures with people. We signed a couple T-shirts and stuff.
We had left at that point. The girls were complaining about being tired and their legs hurting, which was expected because, 10-year-olds want a place to sit down as well. And, everybody who goes to shows knows that it's a concrete floor you're standing on all that time for an extended period of time.
Was Blind, which... my first thing was, would it be too cliche to start with Blind? Because I know they used to do that a lot. And my idea was to have the drummer on stage doing the cymbal and we all kind of walk out gradually. But instead, it was cooler because we got to do it with Chutes and Ladders and the drummer could kind of come out too, make a bit of an entrance that way. But yeah, so we played probably about an hour, give or take. And we had a really good time. Was it perfect? No, absolutely not. I'm not going to speak for the other guys. I just know there was a lot of stuff that I was a little goofy on.
Nobody noticed.
But the nice thing is with Korn, especially the guitars, if me and the other guy are a little bit off and it has a little extra sloppy dissonance to it, it's Korn. I mean, it's Korn. Okay, I'm not going to do that.
Korn, big lump of knobs, big log with, it's got the juice.
It fits the vibe, A matter of fact, it was funny. The second practice we had, we recorded a lot of the stuff and we were listening back to it. No, excuse me. The first practice when we were still.
Don't tell me what to do. I won't excuse you.
Still a little extra rough. We were listening back to it before we started practicing the second time. And I remember hearing bits and pieces of some stuff and being like, honestly, it needs some work. We're not quite there yet. But if you would have told me that this was some like bootleg audience recording from some Korn show in like 99, I might believe you.
Yeah.
Because it's like right there. Because I saw Korn in 99. It's like, yeah, they're jumping all over the place. They're not super tight. That's never been one of their things. Even on the albums, especially those first couple. If you go back and listen to Self-Titled and Life is Peachy, there's tons of stuff where they're clearly not playing to a click track. They clearly didn't tune the guitars before they started. It's part of the Korn charm. And honestly, that's sort of, I don't want to say like alleviate some of the stress, but it did make me feel like, you know what? If we do get a little bit off, if something does, as long as we don't stop a song, as long as we don't go completely off the rails, we'll be fine. And that's exactly what happened. We played 16 Korn songs and we played them pretty damn good. And we had a lot of fun while doing it.
As he was just saying that even playing a Korn song bad is still playing it good, I guess.
We're jumping all over the stage. I will say, as a musician who likes to be energetic on stage, when you've got all the accoutrement of costumes and
the accoutrement, he had lots of it. It was fun. I don't know. I know you said before it was a ninja mask, but I guess from where I was on the other side of the stage from him. It looked more like a COVID mask.
Masks and stuff, it helps with that. Like it really, really does. You feel, I don't want to say more comfortable, but I think you just sort of like, you're not so worried about like, oh, if I stop moving, I'll look boring, because you just look cool already. Like you already have something that makes people, makes you stand out. So
he stood out. I would say he didn't stand out from the other rest of the guys on the stage because they were, they all had, crazy masks and whatnot. And I don't know, but he definitely stood out, especially in his all Adidas wear, which I get is a Korn thing. That's yeah.
But yeah, as of this recording, July 1st, there is no more Thoughtless gigs booked. However, we did get some cool pictures and some cool videos that are already kind of like circulating around. We saw some buddies of ours that were there posting stuff that I think will potentially get us some more gigs. Also, we brought Sick Man. They were from, I want to say, the Charlotte area to Greensboro, which is, a couple hours apart, to try to do like a little show swap and see if we can't get out that way. North Carolina has a plethora of cool venues all over the state. There's enough, I don't want to say big cities, but places like Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Charlotte, Raleigh, like all of these places have good sized music venues.
They really do. North Carolina is a lot more active in music than people think it is. I live in Danville, Virginia, and Greensboro is about an hour away. So it's really not hard to get there. It doesn't take a long time. And then Raleigh is about an hour and a half away. Charlotte's, 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. But so, yeah, I mean, it's relatively not far for us. And then Richmond's like 3 hours away. And I don't know. And then they opened a Caesars casino here in town, and it has some cool shows that go on occasionally and all. So, yeah, North Carolina is actually a lot cooler for music than people think it is.
So I think that as time progresses, I think Thoughtless will find that following.
Do you find it strange that he said he thinks that Thoughtless
and play at some of these bigger venues? And then Crypt Kicker is the perfect for a rowdy bar that wants a little something different from their cover band.
Think for rowdy bar, think the bar in Roadhouse, but with lots of cobwebs and candelabras.
So yeah, so I'm having a good time with this. Now that we've got a couple shows under our belt, there are 3 Crypt Kicker gigs coming up this month that I'm still learning new songs for, and I'm still tightening up some of the ones I already quote unquote learned. So still a lot of work, but I'm having fun. And just wanted to share that. Now that I got a gig with both bands under my belt, just figured I would come out here and talk about it for a little bit. And I'm going to try to post some pictures and videos whenever this episode goes up, so you can check it out. And I hope you have a great day.
Okay, so it was a lot of fun for the show. The show was a lot of fun. It was a lot more fun just to watch the girls and it be their first show and all. And, truth be told, I did enjoy myself. Mrs. Danger and I, we did enjoy the show. We had a lot of fun. It was cool to see him up there playing. I'd only seen his band, one of his older bands once. And, it was fun, but it was more of a party gig in a bar kind of a thing. I don't know. I will say, I'm not a Korn fan. You guys know this. I like, some of the earlier stuff, but, it's just not my thing. But it was a lot of fun. I would go again. But to be honest, I don't know. His band went on so late. I felt like such an old man. I don't know. Either way. Thanks for listening to this episode of Second Breakfast. I know it's quite different than a normal type episode, but we want to mix up every once in a while. So thought it was kind of a fun thing to, for him to talk about his show that he played, and then me give my feedback on the show that I saw him play, the first one. So I don't know. Either way, thanks.